Hello, Year 9. I'm just going to walk you through a few of these examples for 2G, which is on simple interest, and then I will leave you guys to try a few on your own as well. Simple interest is just multiplying your principal amount, which is whatever amount you've invested or whatever amount you're earning, whatever the case is. The P stands for your principal amount, which is your amount of money that you're working with. We multiply that by the rate, which is your percentage, and we're used to doing that. This is nothing new to us. We multiply a percentage times an amount, and we get, the tax or whatever the case is. However, this time you might also have an N, which stands for the number of periods that you are going to wind up being charged in interest. So what winds up happening with interest is that the bank will either add on interest monthly or yearly or maybe 4 times a year. So we need to calculate the interest at different times throughout the year. So therefore, we don't just have the amount times the percent, but we have the amount times the percent times how many periods we actually get charged that interest, or we earn the interest, whatever the situation is. So for the first example, very straightforward, find the simple interest earned on $5,000. It's 6% per year, so PA stands for per annum. Okay, so per year, really. And then for 3 years. So to find our simple interest, which is I, we're going to take our principal amount multiplied by the rate multiplied by the number of periods. So for us, this is $5,000 multiplied by a 6% rate, and we multiply that by 3 years. The only thing we need to double check is that if this says per annum, per year, that we also have a period that's in years. So the percent needs to match the period in terms of if it's in years or months or days. All right, so for this one, let's go ahead and calculate our interest. And we get $900 is what interest we would earn on $5,000 if we left it in a bank. That would give us 6% interest for 3 years. So you actually wind up earning money if you leave your money in a bank, and they have a pretty good program to give you some interest. So now this one is really the same, however, set up a little differently, because notice we have 7% per annum, but now it's saying find the interest that's earned after 18 months. So we do have to do a little bit of prep work here to make sure that everything's in the correct time period. So calculate the simple interest earned on $500. So again, simple interest is the principal amount times the rate times the number of periods. Our principal amount is $500. We put that in at the beginning of this 18-month period, multiplied by 7% per annum. So if this is per year, then I need to convert 18 months to years. So because 1 year has 12 months, let's divide 18 by 12. And when we do that, we get 1.5. And we could have also just thought about that. But really, 18 months is 1.5 years. So I'm going to multiply by 1.5, not 18, because I want to make sure everything is in years. I could also divide 7 by 12, and I could put the per annum instead of per annum. I could make it per month. So as long as I change both of them so that they're the same units, then it's okay. So go ahead and pause here. Let's figure out how much interest. So for this example, we would earn $52.50. All right, so this is example 4, and again, we're in 2G. So example 4 says that Jan earns $560 per annum in a simple interest on an investment. How much would he earn on the investment in 2 years? So again, he's earning $560 per year, and he's going to leave his money in there for 2 years. So we have the same rate. We just wind up taking that $560 that he earns per year, and we're going to multiply that by 2 years, because we want to know how much he's going to earn. If it's $560 per year, 2 years pass, he'll make $1,120. Okay, we could wind up following the same idea for B and C. So I'm going to leave you guys to try C. Set up your work so that I can see it on your paper, and then push play in a moment and see if you get the right answer. So for part C, we should get $5,600. For example 5, we're just going to look at B and D. Find the simple interest earned on $5,000 at 6% per year for 3 years. So notice this one's already set up. A percent is in per annum. We leave it in there for 3 years, so our units match, so we don't have to do any conversion. So we can just simply start by looking at the interest equaling the principal amount times the rate times the number of years, and I can actually find my answer that way. So I'm going to let you guys try B and D, and then let me come around and check your paper. So let me know once you guys get an answer for those two. There's a note in the book that says remember to write your rate as a decimal, but what that means is if you're going to put 6% in your calculator, you have to use the percentage symbol, or you have to convert 6% to a decimal and write it as 0.06. So both of these are correct when you enter the percent or the rate. But if you use the percent button, then you can just push 6%. Number 6 is a little bit different because Wally invests $15,000 at a rate of 6% for 3 years. So again, this first sentence here is very straightforward, simple interest. I would multiply 15,000 times 6% times 3 years. But then it says calculate the simple interest and the amount that's available at the end of 3 years. So this additional piece here is new. If I were going to do the first step, so I'm going to do this in red, where it just says calculate the simple interest. That would be my interest equals P times R times N. So that's 15,000 times 6% times 3 years. Therefore, the simple interest is $2,700. However, if I want to know the total amount available, the amount available at the end of 3 years is going to be how much I put in plus the interest that I've earned. So it's going to be my principal amount plus the interest. So for me, that would be $15,000 plus the interest, which is $2,700. All right, so I'm going to wind up with $17,700. So there is a very slight difference between these two because the first one just tells me the interest earned. The second one actually adds on the original amount as well. So I wind up with the total amount of money that I would have if I originally put in $15,000 and I just leave it for 3 years and it earns 6%. For the next few examples, I'm going to ask you guys to try these on your own and then pause the video so you can set up your work or raise your hand if you need help, and then you can push play to check your answers. All right, so for number 7, calculate the simple interest earned when you put $1,000 in at 5% per year, but it's for 24 months. So remember, this is in months, this is 5% per year. So we need to change these so that they match, either both in years or both in months. Also try D, $4,700 at 4.5% per year, and we're leaving it in for 15 months. So again, these are going to need to match. So you can either convert them both to months or both to years. Go ahead and push pause, try both of these, and then you can check your answers. So for 7B, we should get $100. For 7D, we should get $264.38 because we're rounding to the nearest cent. All right, so just make sure that when I walk around, I can see your work on the paper. For number 8, Annie invests $22,000 at a rate of 4% per year, and this is over 27 months. So again, we have a 4% per annum, 27 months. Calculate the simple interest and the total amount available. So again, this is a red. Find the simple interest, and then you have a second part, find the total amount available. So you're going to be doing 2 calculations here. Go ahead and pause and try this one on your own. Go ahead and check your answers. And please make sure you've checked in with myself or Ms. Williams. For number 10, we're not calculating any differently, but do notice the different wording in this question. Instead of Lynn earning money, she's borrowing $2,000 from the bank. She's repaying it over 2 years, but the finance company is going to wind up charging her 14% per year, which is a much higher interest rate because she's borrowing money instead of earning money. So we want to calculate her total repayment. So we're still going to find her simple interest that she's charged, and then we're still going to find her total amount, but her total amount is going to represent the repayment. So we want to first find her simple interest, then we want to find her amount, but her amount is going to represent the repayment. So go ahead and pause here and try this one on your own. So this is a great example of what happens when we borrow money from the bank. Lynn borrowed $2,000, but over 2 years, she actually had to pay an additional $560. And that's basically for the convenience of allowing a bank to give you money and let you borrow money so that you can buy something. So always worth thinking about. All right, guys, our last example is Wendy. She wins $5,000 during a chess tournament, and she wishes to invest her winnings, and she has 2 choices. Which one's going to give her the greater total at the end of the time? So should she put her money into a bank that's going to give her 8.5% per year for 4 years, or should she put her money into a bank that's going to give her 8% per year for 54 months? Okay, notice the difference there, year, months. I'm going to let you guys work on this. When you guys finish, raise your hand and we'll come check it. All right, good luck.